Hi guys, welcome back to Lunatic Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Lori Lothian, and today we're going to talk about January 2021. And it's a very busy month. I'm going to give you a broad overview. We're going to talk about some of the, amazing stuff that's happening and very challenging for some people as well, depending on if you're a fixed sign or not. And then we're going to talk a little bit about each of your signs in particular. So stay tuned for that in the all signs portion of the reading. And also check out my, first of all, like and subscribe. It helps my channel grow, and I am growing, which is great. And I have a lot of things down below to check out. My, sale readings, my Patreon community, which is nice and small right now, under 20 people. And we have live meetings, Zoom calls for only $5 a month. You get live with me once a month, every Tuesday. So check out all the info below. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Okay, let's get going. First of all, wow. January 2021 is a real setup for what's going to be an amazingly game-changing year. I'm kind of calling it like, the year of radical reinvention or dramatic change or, system overhaul. And that has a lot to do with 2021's ongoing square between Uranus and Saturn. But we're not talking all about that this time, because that doesn't really, Saturn-Uranus square doesn't kick in until middle of February 2021. We're going to focus on the buildup, which is this January. So first of all, one of the things that's happening is that Mars is going to change signs in January. He's going to enter into a sign that he's not comfortable, Taurus. And he does that entry into Taurus around the 6th or so. Yeah, that's the day that the Senate is supposed to confirm in the United States the electors. And before, let me go back a bit. Before Mars actually gets into Taurus, he's going to be in Aries. He's finishing his 6-month sojourn there. It's a long stay. He hasn't been in Aries for 6 months since 1988. And so he's been building up superpower strength. He's getting his Mars on, he's really like saturated in his own home. It's like he had a 6-month stay, a staycation in his best house, his Aries fire home. So he's pretty strong. He's pretty rested. He's pretty in good shape. And then he hits the very end of the 28th, 29th degrees of Aries, and he's going to be sitting in the last degree, the 29th degree, which is kind of a cool degree because it's a potentized degree. It's called the anorectic degree. It's actually considered to be kind of malefic. In the Egyptian balance, a lot of the last degrees of every sign in the Egyptian terms, that's like 5 pie slices of each 30 degrees, happen to be owned by Mars, a malefic, or Saturn. So it's always considered to be kind of both critical and yet maybe potentially harrowing or difficult. And he's going to be sitting there, Mars, in those last degrees before he transitions on the 6th to Taurus. I should double check my dates, but I believe he actually flips to Taurus on the 6th. And it's so that buildup in the 2 or 3 days before the 6th of January. And that's going to include, if you live in the United States, the Georgia runoff race. This happening on the 5th, and the election results pouring in or crawling in from that. There's a huge Martian tension going on. Mars is like really buckled down in the last degrees, and wherever that falls in your chart, which I may or may not talk about in the next section, the last degrees of Aries is intense. So like the house of siblings is where it is for me, or short trips and travel, or self-expression or writing. So we'll see what Mars concocts for me in his I think the Mars in the last degree, the 29th degree of Aries, happens every 2 years. So it's not a big deal. It's that he's been potentized by spending 6 months in his own sign. I mean, it's like the war vet came home and he sat around and he got great parties going on, and then he caused some chaos and some accidents, but he was having fun. And reminds me of that Hot Tub funny movie, Hot Tub Time Travel or something. He's just been there, he's doing his thing. No one's telling him what to do. He's the boss. And now he's going to be in this critical 29th degree at the end of this month. And he hasn't been there for 2 years, but now he's been potentized at the 29th degree. So pay attention in your life collectively and individually for around maybe the 3rd, 4th, 5th kind of thing of the month of January, for it to be a time for heated conflicts, upsets, cut off arguments, watch out for accidents, be very careful that you don't cause yourself injury or have an accident during that time. And you may just find that you have to cut or sever something. Mars is like the gardener, the hard prunes, like the rose bush needs a hard prune to really look beautiful later on. So you might have to cut some things out of your life, some people out of your life, or they may cut you out or off, and that's okay. You know, it's so funny that as Mars hits the 29th degree, I'm taking a course on boundaries with a few women I know. And, that's perfect Mars story, right? Cut a hard line, make a line in the sand, enough, basta. And so maybe where in your life do you need to say enough? I think I might put that 29th degree of Mars into the all signs, because I think it's such a rare thing to have Mars so deeply entrenched in Aries. Well, he finally, after, not being there since 88 for so long, hits that last degree, and we'll kind of finish with a flourish. What's the thing you need to decide, choose, let go of, release from, surrender, that, like cut away, that is what strong action do you need to take that's so important. So we'll talk about that in the all signs. So just be aware that Mars is heating up to move to Taurus in around the 6th of January. And then he's in a place of Venus's sign, and he's not very comfortable there. And Venus is, peace, love, harmony, and joy, fun, and pleasure. And Mars is, war. Yeah. And other things too. Action, willpower, drive. Okay. Passion. I feel that what's going to happen with Mars in Taurus is he's going to be taking some chamomile tea and trying to sit on it, trying to bite his tongue, trying not to like cause too much of a disturbance. And, just think about the election in the US. The Senate is going to do the electoral college confirmation, but there's so much chaos in the world right now that there may be some kind of muted muted protest, muted rioting, muted upsets. It just doesn't have the fire Mars needs to pull it off. So for people who are protesting or all of that, good luck. We'll see where that goes. Venus is going to be in Capricorn though shortly after, and then she's going to be able to communicate. Is that correct? Is she moving into Capricorn? Yeah, she's going to go into Capricorn later on. So I don't have my chart in front of me, but sometime around, I think the 9th or onward, Venus will end up in Capricorn. And then she's in the sign of Venus's exaltation for one. Mars's exaltation, and she's in an Earth trine to Mars. And so this kind of smooths the way out. Venus is going to be in the exaltation home for Mars. It's kind of where he goes for his VIP treatment. And she's over there, and she's going to give him an Earth trine vibe. She's going to give him positive, supportive opportunity, energy. So for all of us collectively, I think whatever chaos starts to stimulate a rise in the collective or in your own life, or upsets with others, the real muting and the real sort of sweetness and the sort of harmony that can come out of the whole thing, even in a way that may be surprisingly good, will come sometime after around the 9th or so of January. And then Venus will spend 3 weeks trining Mars, basically. So then Mars is not doing much damage with a benefic trining him and all of that. I do have to say, though, on the day of the United States inauguration, there is a rather alarming thing happening. And that is that on the actual election day, there's going to be a perfect conjunction between Mars and Uranus, which only happens once every 2 years. And don't forget, Mars is really strong from having spent so much time in his staycation of his Aries, 6 months time in his Aries home. So, Mars and Uranus is like very combustible energy. It's like, I don't know what to say. It's like Mars is like, let's like take action, explosive, powder-keggy energy with Uranus. And I sometimes think the Mars-Uranus combination is a lot like the card of the Tower in the tarot, where there's a lightning bolt that hits the top of the tower, and then you see these people falling from the tower, And normally I'd say a tower is a Saturnian structure, but it's just that, and there is a Saturnian element. Saturn is squaring Uranus and squaring Mars in a broad square during this inauguration. It doesn't become exact, the Saturn square to Uranus, until February, but there's a whole sign square. So there's something like the tarot card going on here on Inauguration Day in the United States. Now, the tarot card in the tarot isn't about like lightning really hitting a tower or like a bomb strike, but you could in our world have, unfortunately, around the 20th, an act of violence, an explosive event, a bomb going off, like what just happened in Nashville. You could also have, but deeply underneath, a Uranus combination with Uranus and Mars, because they're in that broad square to Saturn in Aquarius, it does have a lot to do, in my mind, with whatever event may happen around the inauguration that is, shocking. Like, oh my God, someone tried to assassinate Joe Biden or something, or oh my God, someone tried to blow up the blah, blah, blah. Whatever happens around the inauguration, it is a symbol of something much larger. Like the Saturn piece over there in Aquarius is like, we got some blowing up to do of more than just an event, a person, a political structure, a town, a city. It's an ideological, cosmological, cultural explosion. Something is trying to break away. And things like that happen, like when the 9/11 towers went down, trade towers went down. That's kind of very much a similar vibe caused by different circumstances, but it changed the way we saw the world. Air travel changed, safety measures for travel changed. The idea of, how safe the world isn't, I guess, for a lot of people dramatically changed. And how, it was a clash of ideologies, it was a clash of religion, really. I mean, so the United States representing the bad guy for the people who would have blown up the trade towers from a sort of more fanatical religious perspective, Islamic perspective at that time. So I think the clash of ideologies and the explosions around that and the breaking down of systems, like I honestly think that the United States, with this Pluto return coming into play, is really looking at a turning point where all of a sudden what was taken for granted, the Electoral College may not hold up for another couple of years as a system that's workable because of gerrymandering, and the votes don't represent the population. The popular vote is separating in the United States from the actual Electoral College vote increasingly, because it doesn't represent the populace anymore. The Electoral College system doesn't do that. And other things like the Constitution itself and what the constitutional writers meant. And, you have constitutional originalists in the Supreme Court now, put in there by the conservative movement. But you wouldn't be surprised if they shake things up by saying, upsetting apple carts in the constitutional law. So there's going to be a lot of breaking down and breaking through ultimately in 2021. But this little test point, flashpoint on the 20th, on the inauguration day, give or take a day on either side, with this rare every 2-year kind of Mars meeting up with Uranus in the sky, Mars being super strong and fortified right now after having been in his sign. Yes, he's in Taurus. Yes, Peacemaker Venus is trining him from Capricorn in a whole sign trine. So there's an urge for harmony, an urge for making some lemonade from some lemons. But Venus is still in Mars's exaltation sign. And to me, that kind of means like he's got VIP status where she's staying. And so he kind of like, even though he's not living there right now, he's kind of got top dog command. Like he's like, that's my place where I stay and I get the VIP treatment, Venus, and you're hanging out there. So thanks for giving me benefic energy and blessing me from Capricorn. But, I also have some power in the house you're staying in. So, here's what I want to have happen during my rendezvous with freedom loving, rebellious, revolutionary, original, breaking through energy that Uranus is providing me right now. There could also be a geopolitical event of big magnitude that shocks the world. And there also could be something to do with the weather, or especially Uranus in the earth sign, like earthquakes, or planetary environmental calamities happening. Given it's in an earth sign, I wouldn't guess it's a tsunami, but then of course the water rolls it over the land. So maybe it is something like that. So there's also that possibility. I remember when the nuclear thing happened in Japan, there was a Uranian influence, and I can't remember what. I had done some research on that. So again, there's also that potential, and that would rivet the world in a new direction and get everybody's mind off the darn inauguration. A lot of us astrologers are worried about the inauguration day because of some of the stuff that we're seeing here that looks pretty intense. So that's a January thing. On January 23rd, I hope I didn't skip over anybody. I probably am, but I'm just giving you the overview. If you want to get my all signs for 2021, you can get the bundle for only $39. Every sign you share with your friends. And you can look at your sun, moon, and rising. And I also am selling them individually. And each is an hour long. I pre-record them in November and they're on sale now. So don't forget to check the link below. You'll get a lot more detail about your whole 2021 based on your sun, moon, and ascendant. I should have said it up front. So January 23rd. we are going to experience the Mars energy squaring Jupiter. And Jupiter is, you know, all about sort of justice and the law. And he's kind of the top dog of Mount Olympus. He's a commander, a leader energy. Mars can be military energy, force. Sometimes Mars and Jupiter can look like military commanders, like the generals or something. I always think of Mars and Jupiter together like the general energy, or the commander in chief, you know, which is the name for the US president. And so when Mars is squaring Jupiter on the January 23rd timeframe, it won't just be on January 23rd. I mean, this is kind of building up, right? From before, like, oh, did I even cover January 17th? No, I'll get to that. I have to go back. Sorry. On January 17th, and this is where I'm really going to dig in on the all sign. I call this the inspired inspiration aspect. This is my name for it, but it also is revolutionary fervor. And that's going to be a Jupiter square to Uranus on the 17th of January. I don't think I said that already. I didn't. And that Jupiter a square to Uranus on January 17th happens once every 6 or 7 years, guys. And this is where we're going to go in the all signs. It's so exciting because it could be a huge change in your fortunes, a huge breakthrough in some area of your life. And, you know, the last time was 2014. So, you know, 13 and 14, because there was a retrograde, but, you know, it's not that common. So in the all signs, I'll have a lot of fun saying, where does this good explosion of revolutionary fervor and inspired expansion and possibility and break on through to the other side is going to happen for you. And, you know, the downside is, of course, don't go drink the Kool-Aid. You know, the guy who did the Kool-Aid thing, everyone drank the Kool-Aid, the suicide cult of Jim Jones. And Jim Jones was born with Jupiter, Uranus conjunct. You can call it the crazy guru if you like, because guru is another Jupiter word. And Sharon Tate, who was a part of the Manson cult, also had that same alignment. So you think can also be, you can be drawn to unusual Uranian, extreme, weird, far out, fringe. What is that show that I used to like? Not just Fringe, but the X-Files kind of stuff with Uranus, and then Jupiter squaring Uranus. You could be called into some leader of weird shit, you know, and end up falling under the spell of somebody you shouldn't be. So be cautious of that. That's probably very rare, but it's always a possibility. But it's a breakthrough of fortunes, a rapid expansion, a revolution, a new kind of freedom, and a growth in some area of your life. I'm just going to call it the inspired expansion zone of your life. So then on the 20th, we have the rather scary, explosive tinderbox, tower, angry energies of the Mars conjunct Uranus. And then later on the 23rd of January, Mars will square Jupiter. Now, as I said, that was like the military commander in chief. But Mars and Jupiter in combination could also have to do with legal stuff, legal battles, fights in courts, law fights. Now, I don't know. There's been so much of that in the air lately. I think we're all tired of the latest legal thing going on in the United States, at least anyway. But just be aware that that Mars-Jupiter square is still got Uranian energy. Mars is still sitting really close to Uranus. So it's not just the warrior battling with the leader archetypally or pressuring or causing frictioning the leader for action. And Mars isn't particularly strong in Taurus, right? Where Jupiter is not particularly strong in Aquarius. Neither of them has essential dignity because they're not in their home kingdoms. But Mars is definitely a little bit weaker because he's in the position of, you know, his exile. He's not a happy camper. So I'd say Jupiter will prevail in the story and have greater strength over what's going on just because of his more neutral dignity. But the Uranus tinderbox, pressure cooker, powder keg that Mars is still feeling, that he began to really engage fully in January 20th, and you'll start to feel that as early maybe as January 17th. I'm trying to feel this out. I mean, Mars has been in touch with Uranus, and then he comes to square Jupiter. He's carrying Uranus dust, you know. He's like Uranian. He's like revolution, Che Guevara energy. He's got a fire to overturn something. And Jupiter is like the kind of be the legal system, the law, the justice, leader energy. I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't a movement to overthrow a leader. And I don't want to fixate in the US. There could even be a movement to overthrow a leader anywhere in the world during that time. I mean, you know, Kim Jong-un could like take some poison by mistake. Poisoned his own brother, for goodness sakes. So I could say that Mars square Saturn could be that kind of assassination attempt, or yeah, something like that. Okay, is there anything else I want to say? Yeah, there's a beautiful moon, a Leo moon at the end of the month, but I do my moons separately. So I'm not really going to go into the end of the month moon, but it is a beautiful moon in Leo, conjunct Jupiter at the time. So stay tuned for that. And I'll come to that on another recording. Okay, so let's go into the all signs portion. Remember, look at your ascendant first, because that's going to be more true to who you are. Then your sun or moon. If you're born at night, look at the moon, sun in the day. How do you tell? Besides like thinking, oh, it's 4 a.m. Of course, it was dark. Go to astro.com, put in your day of birth, month, year, time, and leave the time, all the data, pull the chart up. And you'll see that there's something called ascendant, descendant. And is the sun below that line that would form across the east and west axis of the chart, the left and right, then you are definitely born during the night, because the sun is below the horizon. Okay. So sometimes it's on the cusp. It's hard to tell, you know, we can be born in the dawn or the setting of the sun. So you can figure out that for sure. In Vedic astrology, your moon is always looked at. You always look at your Lagna Lord, which is your ascendant sign, and the planet that rules it. And then you always look at your moon. And so I always say to everybody, I would always look at my sun, moon, and my rising sign when I'm listening to these forecasts. I just think they're all really relevant. I'm really lucky I have an Aries sun and moon. So, and I am born at night. So no matter which way I go, I win on that one. All right, so we're going to do the all signs starting now. Just before I share the charts, I'm going to do it differently this time. I'm going to just share the chart as I see it, because I realize I'm always trying to memorize these things in my head. I'm like, why do that? I'll just show it to you as I'm seeing it. But before I go ahead, just a reminder, I do have this really great deal for my all signs bundle, an hour each, just 12 hours of recorded material for only $39. You can get that bundle on the link below, or you can buy each sign individually for $14.95. It's 2021 in-depth forecast for each sun, moon, and ascendant. Well, it's for the signs, you know, but you may as well get your sun, moon, and ascendant. And the reason I think the all signs bundle, besides saving money, is a good idea. You'll save some money, you'll save a little bit of money, $6, $7, is that you can, you know, share with your family, right? I'm okay with that. You know, like you can look at your kids, your friends, your family, your dog, etc. I know that, you know, some of us don't know when our pets are born, but as an astrologer, it's always a good idea to find out the day your pet was born. And if you ask the reader what time the pup popped out, even better, because you'll get a lot of insight into your animal and how the animal connects with you. And there's my daughter washing her hands in the kitchen, if you're wondering what that sound is, everybody. Okay, let's do the all signs. I'll screen share and let's get going. I should spend about 5 minutes with each of you, because I want to cover both Mars at the end of Aries after his long sojourn there. And I'm going to also talk a little bit about that January the 17th, expansive, inspired breakthrough in your fortunes, inspired expansion, revolutionary fervor, breakthrough of your fortunes, sudden and exciting change of fortunes and direction in your life, even change of life direction. Okay, for the January 17th, once every 6 or 7 year conjunction of Jupiter. Did I say conjunction of Jupiter square Uranus? Sorry, guys. I hope I said square before. I'm pretty sure I did. All right, so yeah, pretty sure I said Jupiter square Uranus. Okay, so in this particular chart, we're going to start with Aries, because it makes a lot of sense, because it is the first sign in the zodiac, anchored to the spring equinox in the tropical zodiac. So for you, Aries, I mean, Mars has been going through your first house since June 27th and will exit on January 6th. And he will spend literally this kind of last few degrees, you know, let's say January 4th and 5th at the 29th degree of his own sign. And this is about your identity. And this is a good chance for you to really consolidate the gains that you've made in the last 6 months. Like, what have you been doing, Aries, sun, moon, and rising, to really cut away all that is not. There's an expression, master, how do you carve the perfect elephant every time? And the master says to the student, I carve away all that is not elephant from the block of jade. You're carving away, cutting away, ending, severing, releasing, letting go, making hard choices, drawing firm boundary lines in what you are not in order to define what you are. Okay, so that's exciting. And there's a whole sense of renewing the lease of you as Mars, your lord of your life, the leader of your story, because he's the lord of your ascendant. has been working on your behalf to give you a new identity. And for some of you, it could mean really radical changes. For others, it might have been subtle. But then I want you to consider that January 5th, and that means ending like some marriages, because it's opposite the house of marriage, has also been in action, or business partnerships have fallen away, or friendships that don't serve you in the 7th house. And also if you had any legal battles in contracts and negotiations over here, 7th house legal affairs, especially like contractual, you were fighting tooth and nail or making strong, hard decisions to get your just desserts out of the whole thing. Anyway, on the January 3rd, 4th, 5th kind of thing, you're looking at the tail end, the culmination of all of that. And how are you going to consolidate your gains? For instance, are you going to make one choice decision, take one action that kind of is the epitome of everything you've been doing in the last 6 months? I actually know one that I'm taking. I'm not going to share it though, but yeah, there's that. So I got my car totaled during the transit of Mars through Aries by someone. I was parked, my car was parked, and it had to be rebuilt. And I can't believe they rebuilt it, but it's such a Mars going through the first house of an Aries energy, right? To have your car, Mars is trains, planes, and automobiles and moving things and, you know, vehicles like that, and to find out that someone decided to smash it. So anyway, I do have a sense of that for all the Aries sun, moon, and ascendants. You know what I'm talking about. It's been a real interesting journey of that Mars passage through your first house or across your sun or your moon. And you may have had to, you know, deal with things like those kinds of things I described, unexpected calamity, physical injuries, car being injured, you know, trips being canceled, all that stuff because of Mars. Like Mars is a travel god, and yet you're coming out strong on the other end. And on the 3rd, 4th, 5th, look for the culminating lesson. And of course, avoid a heated argument you don't need, which can happen anytime Mars is close to the 29th degree, where, you know, cooler tempers do not prevail. So do your best to engage in the cooler temper version of that time. Now, for you, Aries, sun, moon, and ascendant, this great, exciting opportunity is caused by Jupiter squaring Uranus. There we go. And see how Mars is like close at hand, but not exact until the 20th of January. This is going to be an opportunity for you, Aries, to change your fortunes in your money. It's a financial change. It's changing financial fortunes because this is your money and possessions house. And, you know, be earnings and revenue, possessions, things you own, you know, and you own money, right? Like I have money in my bank account. That's a possession. So your wealth and your money are going to have a dramatic change. Thank you. January 17th, a change of your fortunes. And it's going to happen because of Jupiter's blessings. And I find it lovely to know one of the meanings of the 11th house is pennies from heaven. So you could have a windfall, literally. Jupiter in the house of pennies from heaven is going to activate this Uranus, something sudden windfall, sudden gains financially. And it's a house of your dreams and your hopes and your wishes. And it is the host of your karmic rewards as well. In the Vedic system, we would pay off our karmic debt in the 6th, and we would get the ka-ching reward in our 11th. So, you know, it's very much some of the luck that befalls you here, some of the goodness is probably going to be like a karmic dividend. You know, you can't really predict what it is. It's Uranus. It's kind of be out of the blue, you know, like I've got a couple lottery tickets in the hopper, but, you know, maybe it won't even be from a direction I anticipate. So, because I'm an Aries sun and moon, remember? So I hope you guys are excited. I'm excited for us. Now, the 2nd house is also your voice and your self-expression in the sense of what you speak to the world. It rules the throat, the voice. And so you may all of a sudden be struck with a Uranian aha and have this really passionate Mars new idea of something you wish to express. Something you should say in the world. And, you know, Venus rules the arts, you know, so it could be, because this is a Venus house, so it could have to do with writing or painting or any art form, music. And you could have a real revelation coming to you around the 17th, a big aha about how you want to express something through the Venusian forms of expression. Now, Venus rules money too. And you have a money house with a money activation ruled by a money goddess. So again, it could just be very literally what it seems like, a financial windfall or breakthrough. And don't look for it to be on the 17th, but know that there's a window of time around the 17th where this is in percolation. And technically, you know, Jupiter is pretty darn slow. He's not moving at a clip, and he's going to be kind of influenced that Jupiter relatively slow. Jupiter and Uranus energy will be in play until the end of January. So, just put it this way, let's go, give it a couple of weeks there. I'd say like the 14th and 15th of January to the end of January is this money breakthrough energy. Okay, I hope that's exciting. I'm excited. I'll let you know what happens. Moving forward. And, at the time of this breakthrough, sorry, sidetracking again, but what is Venus, the goddess of money, doing? She's trining your money house, right? She's in Capricorn, you Aries, trining. I got to figure out how people draw on their charts when they do YouTube, because I don't know how. No, that doesn't do anything. But anyway, I'll learn that little trick of drawing on this thing. Anyway, here is the goddess of money ruling your house of money in Capricorn, a sign of wealth and resources. And there's an earth trine happening to the house where this exciting breakthrough happens. So you can't ask for anything better than that. The goddess that rules the house is in favor of more resources, more financial stability in your life. Okay, let's continue on and to the next sign. All right, woohoo! I don't know why I didn't do it this way before and try to memorize everybody's placements. All right, so for you, Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, particularly Ascendants, first of all, you're going to look at the anaretic degree thing, where you've got that, last degree of Mars coming through the back end of Aries, and you're going to pay attention to what you've learned here in your 12th house of your dreams at night, your unconscious mind, the collective unconscious, your past lives, possibly your own self-undoing. Addictions, bad habits, and self-defeating patterns can be 12th house. Hospitals, asylums, prisons, So those are the themes of the 12th house. As also revenue from foreign lands. If any of you Taurus, Sun, Moon, or Ascendants are bartering and trading with foreign lands, which most of us do now that we have PayPal for online business anyway, it's also that. So Mars went through your foreign lands. It's one of the means it's foreign lands, but all the other things, it's also enlightenment, moksha. So Mars scouring, pruning, cutting back, making your 12th house lean and mean. I think Mars going through your 12th, you could have given up addictions, bad habits, bad patterns. Some of you Taurus, Sun, and Moon, and Ascendant people may be dealing with letting go of a habit that may not be all addictive. I know a lot of pot smokers tell me it's not addictive, but I know a couple of Tauruses who love their marijuana, and my daughter's laughing over there because she's one of them. And honestly, I think that the Mars going through the 12th, I bet you any money, a lot of Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants have made an attempt to wean off or let go of self-defeating thoughts, behavior patterns, and addictions. Now, Mars is going to finish strong here and give you extra power, extra juice on January 3rd, 4th, 5th to really culminate that with the last signature of a strong Mars going through the 12th house. And if you've been having nightmares, Mars in the 12th house for the last, 6 months, not surprised. Mars will be excavating your unconscious mind, the house of dreams, trying to dredge up your shadow stuff for sure. You probably haven't had the best dreams, but he's leaving there anyway, as I said, on the 6th of January and lightening the load from that part of it. But look for the culminating energy. What lesson is Mars giving you January 3rd, 4th, and 5th about letting go of the self-defeating patterns in your life and behaviors? Okay. Now, Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant, this big expired expansion, Jupiter square Uranus, revolutionary fervor, breakthrough in your fortunes in new directions. Where is it going to give you the juice? It's going to be all about your identity, how you look, how you feel about being you. Uranus is trying to change up that Taurus zone of your chart anyway, since 2019 and will be till 2026. And on top of that, Jupiter is applying the goodness from the 10th house of career, status, reputation, public profile, your outer world, ambitions, like where people see you in the world. Jupiter rules education in the 10th house for some of you Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, because he's like the guru, the teacher. It could be a new educational direction or opportunity, a breakthrough in your direction around your education. For Jupiter in the 10th, if you have a place of employment, you could get a massive unexpected promotion. You could be moved to a leader position. A leader may acknowledge you. You may get a reward. You may get an award from someone in power in your workplace or in your professional milieu. So this is exciting because it both changes your status in the world, Taurus, sun, moon, and ascendant, and it makes you feel so much better about you. Like you love being you now. You know, this is like you be you and you feel good about you. Now, you may have a revolution in who you think you are because there's revolutionary energy when it comes to Uranus. And now there's a sudden breakthrough and a sudden inspired expansion. You know, some of you may change how you look. You never know. I think I kept the recording going. I had an awful feeling I wasn't recording. Yeah, I'm still recording. Unfortunately, when I'm sharing the screen, I can never tell if I'm still recording. Am I still recording? I'm having the recording question anxiety. I'm just going to trust I'm recording. Yeah, I hit record. Mental brain. Okay, so anything else I want to say about that? Well, I do want to mention that this expansion breakthrough in your identity, excuse the dinging sound, I forgot to turn off my thing. This is happening in your first house, right? And your first house is ruled by Venus, right? Because Taurus is the zone of where this change in your identity comes from. And as I mentioned in the other Aries bit, you know, there's a harmonious agreement from Venus and Capricorn that whatever change is underway is good for you. And Venus rules love, art, and beauty. You may be feeling more beautiful about yourself. You may be feeling more lovely, more sensuous, more sexual, more happy, more joyful. You might begin to just have more fun in your life, you know? So, I mean, there's all those possibilities, okay? So that's my sister. So I think that all in all, I'm excited for the Tauruses of the world, sun, moon, and ascendants. I think that you're going to feel so much better about yourself as this great blessing from Jupiter hits you, and your status in the world will, you know, go up as well. Promotions, you know, and directions and life reputation are all on the upswing. All right, let's go ahead and do the next one. So this is Gemini, sun, moon, and ascendant. Now, so Gemini, let's talk. Well, I want to say, let me go over here and move this out of my way. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm seeing. I just had a screen share thing in my way. I'm going to just turn off my phone. I'm annoyed by the sound. Okay. So Aries, where's the Aries zone? Here we go. So what's going on for you guys is that the 6-month journey of Mars going through his own sign, which he hasn't done since '88, since the end of June, all the way through to January 6th, has been about reforming and informing your dreams, your goals, your wishes for your life, some of your money stuff, bringing some more lucky breaks in money, hopefully some more new financial gains from your career, and also some new friends and allies through the Mars energy. Now, Mars is like, sometimes it means ending friends that don't work for you, letting go of sources of gains from your career that don't really work for you. Well, you define new directions, Mars, new choices, Mars, new passion, Mars, in that area. You may have become passionate in the last 6 months about a new career direction that you've taken on, and your money may be increasing because of it. And Mars and dignity can really bring momentum, key word, in the money story from your career gains during 2020, you know, in the last 6 months of 2020. And now he's finishing up the grand finale on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of January, when he's in the last degrees of his own sign. So pay attention to what exciting developments are occurring for you in the last degrees there, the 4th, 5th, and 6th or so, 3rd, 4th, and 5th especially. Well, Mars is blessing you with this final hurrah. You know, it could be a sudden money breakthrough in a way, because this is pennies from heaven, the 11th house, and it can be he is finishing up in a windfall house. So possibly you could even have a financial breakthrough or a windfall of some kind in those parts, that last part of the month. Anything else I'd say about it? Nope. So moving over to the lucky, expansive, inspired expansion, revolutionary fervor, life-changing new direction, changing your fortunes, Jupiter square Uranus. Let's talk about you. Jupiter squaring Uranus for you. So the energy where the square is happening is Jupiter squaring from your 9th house, superior square, to Uranus in your 12th. And so there's going to be a bolt of change likely occurring in your 12th house, which is very subtle. You can't see the 12th house. It's like hidden from view. It's in an aversion to your identity here. So it could be a breakthrough insight, a dream at night, an inspired idea. This is your dreams at night. This is your meditation and reverie space. This is your past lives. This is things to do with debt. People owe you money maybe and suddenly it gets paid back, or you have debt and you suddenly can pay it off. There's also an element of, your own self-undoing, and where you could suddenly change your own self-undoing structures and no longer undo yourself with addictions, patterns, or habits that don't really serve you. I also feel like with Jupiter coming into action from the 9th house of Dharma, your true path in life, where your true calling and purpose lies, this could be a breakthrough in your directionality around your purpose, maybe stemming from recovering some talents and gifts or cities, spiritual gifts from a past life. All right. So there's that as well. Oh, that's funny. Am I still sharing the screen? Hang on. I'm just going to stop the share for a sec. Oh, yeah, I am. I'm sharing it. Usually I see myself when I'm sharing, and I didn't see me anymore. Okay. So one of the things I'd say is that if you have a dream journal type thing going, please keep it up during the time around the 17th of when this beautiful blessing happens of January. Maybe, really the week before and after, have a dream journal handy, or have a little voice recorder handy for some inspiration, some ideas that could come to you about your purpose, your direction, etc. If you think you want to learn something like astrology, because that's a 9th house area, or yoga, or learn about a world tradition or religion, or you want to go back to school and learn something, Jupiter's in the house of higher education, anything you could certify or get a degree in, that's this 9th house. Go for it. Like, oh my gosh, definitely go for it, because this would be such a blessing zone for you. Jupiter would say a revolutionary change of fortunes, a new start in anything you decide to learn during this time. It's funny, my sense is that you could learn something just phenomenal, like a real change of your course in life by just thinking about the idea and seeing if you're inspired to like sign up for a course or learn something new. What else? Now, this is a part of the chart that represents hospitals and, caring for those who are the underserved and underprivileged. If you do any of that work in your life, there's a sudden breakthrough in that area as well. Okay, let's finish up with you guys and think that we're done. Geminis, we are complete. Oh, I should also say, Gemini, that's the house of foreign lands. So possibly you could have a breakthrough from a foreign land, the 9th house, international, foreign shores, where some good news or some good opportunity comes to you. And Jupiter in the 9th is like guru. And, if you're needing a spiritual teacher, you might meet one around the 17th of January. Okay, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. This is going to be a time where you're going to experience the Mars lessons that have been percolating in your 10th house of career coming to fruition. Now you're going to be able to see something culminating or peaking or coming to its fruition or its climactic essence around the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of January. There's possibly, for a lot of you Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, a reframe of what you think you want to be and do when you grow up, as Mars has done his rare 30-year transit through your 10th house of career for 6 months. So since the end of June until the January 6th, that's a real big story for you. How do you really want to express your career in the world? What is your true calling and path? How do you want to be seen in the world as contributing? Because of course, Aries is your 10th house of career path or your public status and reputation. And with Chiron up there now, you've been healing, within yourself, anything to do with how you think you're supposed to show up in the world and choose to show up in the world as you really take action, practice in the world in a way that really feels true to you. So this is also, Chiron is often associated with life purpose. And so there's a real theme going on here to, with Mars's help, to have pared away, cut away, released and severed and made strong decisions and choices in boundaries, even in your workplace or around your work story in 2020, the last 6 months. You may have just said no to certain things and said yes to others because what you let go was stopping you from the no's that gave you space for the yes. You know, what was stopping you was your yeses that were inappropriate. So there's been a big ability to cut down, to cut away and say no to directions in career that didn't support you. Now you're moving into a time of great flourishment where you have a new lease on your career direction. Now, and Mars did a lot of retrograding in your career house, right, as well. And that would have felt stagnant from like September 9th to November 14th, where he was retrograde. So you would have felt frustration then, but now he's really, really digging in for a forward leap, boom, and finishing up strong on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, giving you some freedom now to know more clearly what it is, choice, action, and direction you want in your career. Now, let's talk about the big revolutionary fervor and inspired expansion of Jupiter square Uranus in your chart, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Jupiter is blessing you from his ingress into your 8th house of finances, where he's going to be for almost all of 2021. And there's a like wealth in this house, right? This is like inheritances, bank loans, leveraging money, grants, money of your spouse, collaborative money, business partnership money, derivative monies like royalties and stuff. So there's a lot of ways that money can be coming to you in 2021, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. This an investment monies. That's not the usual means by which you bring money into your story. But now Jupiter is going to do a change in your fortunes from the money place. And he's looking at the house of your pennies from heaven. You could have a sudden chunk of money coming for you. And it doesn't have to be on the 17th of January, okay? But there's around 3 days before and after a huge energy field of, maybe being aware of where this money could come from. But it's also, because this is a money house, the 8th is a money house, the 5th is a money house, the 2nd is a money house, and the 11th is a money house. So it's definitely in the money houses. But this is also the 11th house of your hopes, dreams, and wishes, and your true goals, and your aspirations, and your karmic rewards. And so with Uranus there, you've been reassessing and dramatically changing your own dreams, hopes, and wishes for your life's expression. And there's a strong call maybe with Uranus to do something innovative and inventive and freedom loving and different and eccentric. Uranus is like energy and chi and prana. I know a few Cancer, Sun, Moon, Ascendants have taken up energy healing, but he also rules the internet. And so a lot of people here in the Cancer zone, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant have begun to move their creativity, their business, their aspirations, their hopes, dreams, and wishes online more and more. That's true for all of us, but it's really true for Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, since Uranus entered your 11th house of the masses and people at large, and large social groups in 2019. So what to say to you, mostly it looks like a good money breakthrough thing. Your money fortune's changing in a nice way, but also a bolt of light towards your Jupiter light towards a hope, dream, or wish coming true. You don't need a genie in a bottle. You just need Jupiter square Uranus on January 17th. Let's see what befalls that date, around that date, and maybe until the end of January, where this goodness shows up. Ka-ching, a chunk of money, or a hope, dream, or wish coming true. It could also incite a new social network friend or a acquaintance becoming a friend in the house of allies and benefactors, or a friend or ally could benefit you and your financial picture as well. All right, next. Leo, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. Let's talk. Mars has been going through your 9th house since June 27th and is finishing on January 6th. And he will, around the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, spend time around the 29th degree, and he will culminate or climax the story of what he's been trying to do in his rare, not since 1988, transit of your 9th house for 6 months. The duration is the rarity. So I would say to you, for you guys, this is a lot to do with your dharma, because the deepest meaning of the 9th house, soul, God, religion, and wisdom, underneath it is purpose. What's our purpose? It's a lucky house in Vedic astrology as well. And so where is your purpose? Where is your true call? What is your soul leading you to? Well, Mars has been busy as anything in there. You know, he's been trining your ascendant and really operating in some way to try to help you see a new direction for yourself. And sometimes he does it by, you know, taking away that which isn't right, like cutting ties and ending things, severing, pruning, and releasing. And he can also have brought you a very passionate new direction of learning and engagement in study. It's a house of learning, especially higher education. And he may also have directed your attention towards your spiritual pursuits for a change. And so you might have been getting into meditation or learning about a world religion, or just trying to figure out the meaning of life. I mean, it's definitely looking at the deeper layers. And so I'm wondering if that's been a part of your journey as well. And Mars is culminating, you know, on the 4th and 5th, and he could end with a bang, you know, a breakthrough about something you want to learn, a breakthrough about understanding more deeply your purpose, and making some executive decisions that Mars was capable of making before he leaves that part of your chart. Now, it is the house of foreign lands, and if you travel or have property in foreign lands or connections to foreign lands, keep that in mind as for everything I've said. Maybe some major breakthrough decisions like sell a house in a foreign land, or move to a foreign land, or travel to a foreign land. For some of you, Leo, Sun, Moon, and ascendants. So the Jupiter-Uranian energy, the square between the two of them of inspired expansion, revolutionary fervor, great change of direction and fortunes is happening to you guys in your zone of your career. It literally is like this. Uranus has been moving through your career house since 2019, trying to revolutionize it already and give you more freedom there. And whether you've been cooperating with Uranus since 2019 March, when he's moved in here in earnest, is up to you. But now Jupiter gives him a bolt of luck and blessing and opportunity from your house of others. Now this is contracts, negotiations, business partners and marriage partners, and sometimes long-term friends. And like you've had for years, like we are married. And, you know, Jupiter from here can often look like legal contracts or legal paperwork's being signed or offers being signed. So for some of you, Leo, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, you may be signing on a dotted line sometime around January 17th when this energy kicks in. But it's good for basically the last 2 weeks of January. If you are, you're obviously signing on the dotted line, perhaps to do with something to do with your reputation, status, and career and profile of your action in the world. Because Jupiter in the 7th can be like for you a guide, a teacher, or a coach, or an instructor you may learn from. That it's your house of other. You may come into contact with somebody that you want to learn something from. But if you do, and this happens around January 17th, give or take a week or two, you know, then this is going to be an exceptional, game-changing, fortune-changing, direction-changing bolt of good circumstance that will really help you in your career in the next few years. So, you know, Uranus is not leaving here till 2026. So like it or not, for a lot of you, Leo, Sun, and Moons, your career could be Uranian now. Go on the internet, be bold, you know, Uranian, inventive, freedom-loving, unusual, erratic, eccentric energies. It rules Shakti, Prana, Chi. A lot of energy healers have Uranus. They're born with Uranus in their 10th house or on their midheaven or on their ascendant. So, but he's there now. If you ever thought, for some of you, Leo, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, that you want to do energy work, this would be a really good direction for you. Or again, spend more time on the internet, or get inventive, or be original in your career. You know, Venus is, as I always say, for everybody, trining this event. She's giving it some whole sign energy from Capricorn. She's blessing it with her, yeah, go for it. You know, this is good. I agree, she says, from Capricorn. So there's this sweetness coming from Venus to support it. And in your case, Venus is, you know, in the work house, right? The house of my work. So sweet, blessed Venus is going to bring you work changes as well, participating with this. Okay. This is the way we work, right? The 6th house, like massage therapist has a table. An astrologer has an astrology chart. It's routines, the daily routines, the methods and methodologies of our work. All right. So that is going to maybe be revolutionized a bit too. Anything else? Nope, that's it. Hope that was helpful. Don't forget, check out my all signs bundle in the description box below for 2021. And you can get your sign individually, or you can get the bundle for all signs, which allows you to check out your family, your friends, but also your sun, moon, and ascendant. That's 12 hours of content. Plug. Okay. Virgo, Sun, moon, and ascendants, especially ascendant. You Virgo rising people have been experiencing the 2026 month journey of Mars since June 27th to January 6th through your 8th house of money that doesn't belong to you. Spouse's money, partner's money, bank money, loans, grant money, money that it comes to you from inheritances or windfalls. And for some of you, Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising, you may have gotten some money available to you in ways that aren't normal. Now, technically also Mars may have helped you prune, cut back, whittle away, and really lean out your investment strategies and your savings and your wealth and your treasure strategies and your possessions. Some of you, if you had, like, for instance, I know at Virgo rising, multiple properties she owns, she sold at least one of them. Cutting back and selling things could be one of the things that happens, selling your possessions during a Mars transit of your 8th house. Now, the 8th house is also deep occult wisdom and mysteries and arcane knowledge, and can be just like a tantric sexual thing. Some of that may have appealed to you as Mars barreled through there. For sure. I mean, magic belongs to the 8th house. Also, for you, Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, there's a quality of the 8th house that has to do with secrets and things that are hidden. And I wouldn't be surprised if some secrets weren't revealed and spilled out into the open that may have been rather disturbing, and particularly maybe even about to do with your partner, because, it's your partner's money, but it's also, things that are derivative from the marriage house. So maybe you found out some disturbing secrets that were revealed or news about your main squeeze. Now, Mars will culminate on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th in the last degrees of Aries, like the 29th degree, the anorectic degree, and he will be bringing a culminating lesson to you. So pay attention to those dates just before the 6th of January. See what the final, sort of pin the tail on the donkey is. Like, what is it for? What was that 6 months really for? Because there's going to be a really important lesson here for you. And it's going to maybe even to do with finances and money. Now we're talking about a culminating energy. So it may be subtle, it may be specific, I don't know. But really look at that time as a big lesson plan. Certainly with Mars in your 8th house, some people spend a lot of money there, like divest of their monies and spend it like it's coming out of, just going out of style. And maybe on the last critical 3rd, 4th of January, you may have some kind of recognition about the other side of money, investing, saving, expanding, growing your money. We'll see. If you're down for an inheritance or something like that, there's still time. As Mars spends his last 3 days there in the end of the degrees on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So there's that as well. Now, as well, we have to talk about the good fortune coming to you, courtesy of Jupiter and Uranus in this kind of blowout of revolutionary fervor, inspired expansion, break on through to the other side, great change in your fortunes. That only happens every 6 or 7 years. So first of all, Jupiter is applying the square from your 6th house of your health protocols and your wellness protocols and routines, and from the house of your work that you do in the world and your routines, daily routines for work. This is also the house of your karmic debt. And we do debt relief in that house. And it's interesting for all of you Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, that the new conjunction of Kings that happened on the good Bethlehem story that happened on the 21st of December has inaugurated this house for the next 20 years. So you're going to be doing kind of a sense of, we get high-minded, noble ideas here, like to serve the greater good, because this is where slavery and servitude become a service and duty becomes devotion. It's a house of devotion. So when we devote ourselves to something greater, and you might be devoting yourself to something greater, a lot of you Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants might take up a noble cause or find a life of service very rewarding in the next 2 decades. Now, the same time, this is the house of sickness, therefore it's a house of wellness. And so it's where we find our ways to be healthy and super diligent to take means to control our health. So routines for exercise, food styles, all of that can be 6th house qualities. So taking care of your health is a given because Jupiter and Saturn have initiated that house for you. And Saturn in the next 2.5 years is going to make you strict and stern and rigid and disciplined about your health, as well as the work direction you want to take. And if you're a student, for instance, it would be working hard at your studies. And Jupiter in the next year, we're going to bring you a lot of luck in your health. Your health is going to improve you, Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants in 2020. One, you may not recognize how yourself because you're really feeling gratitude for your new wellness in your life. But this breakthrough energy on the 17th of January, where the Jupiter will square the Uranus energy, bringing a sudden change of fortune, is in the house of higher education, in the house of foreign lands, in the house of your true calling and dharma, in the house of your religious and spiritual wisdom and aspirations, the house of your soul. You could have a revolutionary breakthrough in your educational direction, a revolutionary breakthrough in your spiritual calling, a revolutionary breakthrough in your something to do with where you want to live, foreign lands. Like it could propel you or incite you to move to a foreign land or return to a foreign land, whichever way. And this energy is once every 6 or 7 years. So it's pretty exciting. I would trust it, basically. I say whatever is compelling and propelling you around January 17th, give or take a week or two on either side, is going to be a pretty big game changer. For some of you, you might start to learn something you've never thought you wanted to learn. Like I always wanted to be a lawyer and suddenly I wanted to be a screenplay writer. I always, you may dramatically change the orientation you have towards your education. Even if you're not even in school. I mean, you may be compelled to want to learn something entirely radical and different than something you normally would attend to. The foreign lands piece for some of you Virgos, sun, moon, and risings will literally mean you're going to be like suddenly smitten with the idea of moving to a foreign land or something opportunity coming to you from a foreign land that gives you breakthrough direction change, especially the 9th house, which when it's not being foreign lands and higher education, and it is the house of book publishing for any of you aspiring Virgo writers, a breakthrough in your book publishing dreams. It could also be a dharma thing, like a change of purpose, a life purpose shift. Okay. So yeah, that's exciting. Virgo, sun, moon, and ascendants. Yay for you. Okay, I'm just going to change the sign to Libra. Libra, sun, moon, and ascendant. This is going to be the Mars energy that has been journeying for 6 months in 2020 through your Aries zone of your marriage partnerships, your business partnerships, and legal contracts and affairs. And if you have clients, it's your client, your audience, your other. This has been Mars trying to lean, mean, and pare this away. You may have signed some business contracts. You might sign some legal contracts. This squares the house of home. You may have sold a home or signed documents around real estate. You may have had separation, divorce from people, friends, allies, sometimes like long-term friendships, business partnerships, and spouses. So, or relationships that are long-term, monogamous. And so the sense here is that you may have had Mars cut, snip, and end certain relationships. Okay. Even your jobs could have changed because this is all the energy squaring your career house. Change of job, change of location, change of my relationship status, my friendship status, my business partner status, my clients, and my others, a lot changing. It's a big one. And during this Mars transit for you, the culminating lesson is January 3rd and 4th and 5th, where you can kind of like see, pin the tail on the donkey is kind of my metaphor. You can nail it, you get the bullseye of what the lesson was for. And don't get in a heated argument with anyone that just happens to be a common thing when Mars gets to the end of his own sign. But other than that, and just be cautious with your body because he's opposing your ascendant. Don't get in a non-necessary injury or accident. So be cautious for you, Libra, sun, moon, and ascendants, that you don't do something rash and injure yourself. Otherwise, I'd say that this is going to be a culminating energy and a lesson to do with possibly who you want to partner with in life, both romantically and in business, and a possible Mars at the anarctic degree in the house of other could bring in a very powerful partner, love, or business that shows up at the tail end of the story. So the first week of January. Yeah. Now, any contracts and negotiations you sign at the same time of the first week of January are also super good for you. Now let's move ahead and talk about the square of Jupiter squaring Uranus once every 6 or 7 years, bringing you a game-changing change of direction, inspired expansion, revolutionary fervor, boom, energy, breakthrough on through to the other side of what? Well, it looks to me like it's a money story. Jupiter from the house of money, luck, and speculative risk and investments squaring Mars in the house of your spousal money, inheritance money, other people's money, bank loans, mortgages, leverage money, investment money, money that doesn't necessarily come to you through a paycheck or a salary, which is second house. So boom, some kind of good money story is trying to show up for you around January the 17th. Doesn't mean it's on that date. I'd say the last 2 weeks of January are all up for grabs, and it's so rare, and it didn't happen like 7 years ago here. Everything's moving, right? Jupiter wasn't where he is and Uranus wasn't where he is. So this is a novel story. Where is your money going to improve in a beautiful way? And you'll know the meaning of that sometime in January. And it's a game-changing, revolutionary change of direction. It's not just a little thing. Now, the fifth house from Jupiter's transit here, where he's in 2021, that's a house of inspiration. The muse speaks to you there. Your creativity, your inspiration, your independent business enterprise, your speculative risk-taking luck is all at an all-time high in 2021. Take a risk, buy a stock that sounds crazy. Well, wait till the market crashes, but you know what I mean? Get the pickings good, unless you're buying silver or gold, but I'm not your financial advisor. I'm just saying you'll have a lot of good luck in your money story. If you're a Libra sun, moon, and ascendant looking to get pregnant or have your partner get pregnant, this is a good window in all of 21. Jupiter is the fertility god. When he's in your fifth house, you get pregnant, your husband or partner gets pregnant, your wife gets pregnant, everybody gets pregnant, seriously. So keep your eye on that one. If you don't want to have children and that's not your thing, you're past that stage or it's not of any use to you, you're going to give birth to other babies, books, ideas, projects, creative endeavors, etc. The birth of an empire, the birth of your own independent business, whatever. Lots of babies can be born besides real biological critters. It's a very creative, generative, procreative energy. All right, enough said. Moving on. I'm going to leave you guys behind now. Let's continue. Okay. It's acting up on me. Scorpio, sun, moon, and ascendant. This is going to be a very interesting thing to talk about for you guys because Mars, of course, is your ruler of your ascendant. So you're Mars ruled. So like the Aries people, this Mars story has more import for you. And during the journey of Mars for 6 months in his home sign, he's been working on your health protocols and your work since June 27th until January 6th. Work style, work routines, daily habits, the way you do service in the world, your karmic debt, your health protocols and routines as well. So that's a big deal for you, Scorpio, sun, moon, and ascendant. You've been cleaning up your act, basically. You may have let go of habits that were self-defeating. You may have quit smoking. You may have quit, self-negative self-talk. You may have just quit beating up on yourself. Who knows what you were up to, Scorpio, sun, moon, and ascendant, but you've been given a chance to clean up the wellness story here. Emotional, mental, and physical wellness of your sixth house. And Mars would be like cutting away all that isn't going to serve you, like making a clear directional shift towards letting go of that stuff that you don't need. Same with the work environment, paring it down. You may have been very aggressive, ambitious, discipline focused, and action oriented in the work environment. But also you may have been willing to say no, let go of, and release and cut away parts of the work that you don't like, including if you're in a collegiate situation or you're working with employees and you're one of them, just like walking away from the negative employees or the ones that you don't like and just like staying clear of their energy. It's something as simple as that. If you're an employer, you may have to let go of employees. You may have cut some employees out during that transit. Now, the last thing I want to say is the anorectic degree time frame, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of the month of January is where the culminating lesson is going to happen. So pay attention to your culminating lesson, courtesy of, Mars in the last degrees of your 6th house of work. Honestly, you could end up leaving a place of employment or changing your work because of that. If that's the lesson you need, then on the 4th, 5th, and 6th of January, or 3rd, 4th, and 5th, that decision may be coming to you to make that choice, or it may be made for you, but you need to trust it because Mars is working on your behalf. He is the Lord or ally. He's your Lugna Lord. He's the Lord of your chart, the leading planet here. So if he gets you fired or laid off, don't distress. Some of you Scorpio, sun, moon, and ascendant, if things go differently in the workplace or the direction of your work than you weren't anticipating, don't let it rattle you. The developments around your work on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of January are for your benefit, no matter which way it looks on the surface, because Mars is your ally. Let's go ahead and talk about the Jupiter square Uranus for a second. And I don't know, I had this really weird thought. What if I wasn't recording all this time? I'm going to stop my share because I'm having an anxiety attack just for you Scorpios to make sure I am recording. You know, that's one of those moments that I have. And like you guys get my full-blown anxiety attack. Where did the chart go now that I'm sharing? So I've lost the chart. That's so funny. Just for you guys, everything falls into the land of great mystery. Stop the share. Let me find it. So I didn't close out the software, so I know it's here. But it's hidden behind some mysterious window that doesn't seem to like exist. All right. No accounting for that. Let me just pause the recording while I find it. Do it that way. All right, I'm back, Scorpio. That is too funny. We are recording. So back to you. So we got the whole story of your health protocols and your self-defeat getting undone. And yeah, and your karmic debt, by the way. Mars spending 6 months in the house of karmic debt. Whether you know it or not, you just did 6 months of karmic debt relief behind you. So let's go ahead and talk now about that square between Jupiter and Saturn that brings expansion, growth, dramatic change in fortune, so breaking on through to the other side. So Jupiter is squaring from your house of real estate, home, land, mom and dad, anchor of the chart, and he's going to be squaring his connection to the Iranian influence in your house of legal contracts, business associates and partners, and your marriage partner, and your audience, clients, or others that you work with. And so this bolt into the 7th house of goodness could bring you a very interesting new love story if you're single. Some of you Scorpio, sun, moon, and ascendants will be looking forward to potentially a life-changing new direction as a result of a relationship, especially with Mars there. Mars is all about passion in your 7th house right now. And especially for some of you, you know, Scorpio, sun, moon, and ascendants who are female, Mars can represent a male lover in your, well, if you're gay too, doesn't matter. It can represent a male lover in your 7th house of long-term love. So there's a sudden bolt of romantic engagement is possible for some of you sun, moon, and rising Scorpio people around the 17th of January, give or take a week on either side. Now, business partnership developments, you know, as well, new business partnerships, alliances, and collaborative efforts and endeavors could come out of nowhere and be game-changing for you. So pay attention to that around January 17th. And also, Jupiter is coming out of the 4th house. So if you have land or real estate things going on, buying, selling, moving, or thinking of moving or whatever, or some lucrative offer could come for your property and you'd sign a legal contract out of the blue that makes you rich, you know, all I can say is that it could tie into the very real thing that has to do with your money. Okay. Now this is mom and dad, family of origin. It's technically the house of the mother. And so your mom could give you some money or some lucky breaks to help with real estate, but also real estate developments involving mom, but sometimes father as well can be in the 4th house. So developments with your parents that benefit you in your real estate story or in your contracts, negotiations, marriage, and others. Okay. And that's about it. All right. Possibly with Jupiter spending all of 2021 in your 4th house, more or less. He dips into your 5th in May, June, and July, but he's more or less always in your 4th. It's a move year. A lot of you Scorpio, sun, moon, and ascendants are going to relocate. So again, possibly something January 17th is connected to that narrative as well. Okay, that's it. I hope that you guys enjoy that. Exciting time ahead. Let's go ahead and move it to the next sign, Sagittarius, sun, moon, and ascendant. Let's get going. This is happening where Mars has been activating your natal 5th house, and your natal 5th house for 6 months of the muse, creativity, artistic expression, inspiration, money, luck, and speculation, children, childbirth, pregnancy. Some of you guys have maybe gotten pregnant or your partner's gotten pregnant, maybe. Mars can do a lot of things. One thing he does is he's like momentum dude, right? So if you've been stuck and you wanted a baby and then suddenly there's a breakthrough because you get like traction and suddenly all the treatments, fertility treatments start to work. Now, on the other hand, Some of your children may have encountered that Mars energy on your behalf. Like some of your children may have had some issues with their body, like an accident, or maybe a surgical procedure was needed for some of you Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants. If you have kids, it's mostly behind you right now. But also, I really want to talk about the deeper meaning. The fifth house is that spark, the spark of joy, the reason we get out of bed in the morning, joie de vivre. And it's our inspiration to be filled with spirit, to be inspired. And it's typically a solar ruled house. Leo's the natural ruler there, and natural placement there. And so, Mars has been trying to get your passion stirred up about what you're really excited about. Do you even know, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant Sag, is what you're passionate for? Yeah, sure, the fifth house is sexuality. So you may be having a lot of sex, robust sex in the last 5-6 months. But what's the deeper spark of excitement in your life? Because Chiron, the wounded healer, is there. And whether you like it or not, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant, sexual healing, there's sexual healing ongoing since Chiron entered there in 2019. There's healing around your inspiration, your muse, your deeper creativity, your, creative impulse. And so now we've got this Mars activation where Mars is going to culminate on January 3rd, 4th, and 5th and finish up that lesson and really drive it home for you. So connections with your children, your muse, your financial fortunes, luck and speculation with money. For some of you, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, this could be a lucky money breakthrough as well, as Mars finishes the last degrees in a house of money luck. You never know. He might toss a bag of money at you as he leaves. The consolation prize for Mars there for 6 months. You could also have had a lot of fights with your lover too. Some of you Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. If you have a lover or a sexual partner, fifth house energy, love affair energy, you may have had a lot of disagreements and discombobulation. Mars is trying to pare away the false narrative and get to the gritty, real love underneath the infatuation. Now, let's go ahead and talk about Jupiter and Saturn in that square. So Jupiter and Uranus in that square, inspired expansion, revolutionary fervor, break on through to the other side, all of that goodness where that's been happening for you, will be happening for you, rare once every 6-7 years. On January the 17th, Jupiter is sitting in your third house of siblings, local neighborhood, local friends, short trips and travel, and self-expression, especially writing. And Jupiter is squaring Uranus, who's been sitting in your sixth house since 2019, trying to disrupt your work, whether you like it or not, the work you do in the world, the service you do, the way you work. And so now there's a bolt of breakthrough in the workspace. Now, this could be the place of your employment or those you employ if you're an employer. This can also be a breakthrough in your protocols around health and wellness and the routines you have for that. Whatever Jupiter's trying to do in the square, he's trying to bring some goodness to your work from the third house. Now, the third house is a busy house, but it's a marketing, merchandising, and selling house too. So if your work involves any selling and marketing and merchandising or commerce, this could also be a breakthrough in that way. But more like applying to the routines and ways you work. Uranus in the sixth house could mean you work more on the internet and Zoom, etc., than you ever have. It makes sense with COVID, but he was trying to shift your gears there anyway since 2019. And Uranus in the sixth can look like consulting, free, because he's freedom. I work as a consultant. I do my own thing in my own time as opposed to an employee. So you may have been percolating that, some of you Sag, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants. How can I work as a consultant or something like that, or be more free, a freelancer? And that is going to be an opportunity, Jupiter squaring Uranus, to make that maybe real for you. Yay, real, and activate the realness of it. Okay, so what else can I say about it? Jupiter in your third house in 2021, you might want to learn something. And it won't be something like, I want to become a lawyer or a doctor. That's higher ed years and years. It's more like, I want to learn a skill or a trade. I want to take a course. So if any educational opportunities of that type show up for you, you might want to just go for it, because Jupiter is going to bring you blessings there, as well as some short trips and travel. We're talking domestic, not international. Could be very lucrative or positive for you in 2021. All right. Now, I think that's about it. Anything else I want to say? Nope. Moving on. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. This is a journey of Mars in 2020 for 6 months, blessing you with passion, power, momentum, change, boundaries in your fourth house of home. And, you know, your sign is his place of exaltation. Your ascendant is where Mars finds himself exalted. He's like the VIP guest in your first house. So you have a strong connection to Mars. And as he moves through your fourth house of real estate, home, mom and dad. First of all, you may have moved out from mom and dad. Hallelujah. You may have severed your ties with your mom and dad a little bit more than normal. You may have been able to release your connection, the apron strings to your parents in a way that you hadn't done before. Oh, it's funny. I've got my chart set for January 18th. I really wanted it to be on the 17th, but I'm not going to fix it now. It doesn't matter. Same idea. And you're also looking at this fourth house of, the anchor and root of the chart. And it doesn't just mean my home and my city and my house and my apartment. It's the anchor and root of who you think you really are. It's who you're rooted in as a being. Like, yes, your personality in your expression of your avatar can be very much that Capricornian, resourceful, practical, ambitious, materially successful, driving for that character. But this Aries root is like, oh, and underneath it, I am a soldier, a warrior, a rebel, an athlete. Underneath it, I'm fiery, Martian, light, red fire. And you may want to really think about where in the last 6 months you've been digging deeper into the root of who you think you really are and where you've come from. That's not what your mom and dad tell you should be. Family system stuff, taking on the family system's expectations instead of forging your own path could have been a story of 2020's last 6 months. Culminating energy right at the tail end on January 3rd, 4th, 5th. Asking you to consolidate that lesson, to bring it home, hit the bullseye. What is it really for? I'm surprised if some of you Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants didn't really want to move and get the hell out of your home in the last 6 months of 2020. Mars in the fourth house of home could have meant lots of people are fighting in your home and arguing, and there was discord and this chaos and anger and frustration in the home. So you might have wanted to get the hell out. And it's possible that Mars on the last part of it, January 3rd, 4th, and 5th, may be beginning to show you a way out of that discordant home, or at least the peace will finally prevail when he gets into Taurus. All right, but he may cut home away. He may have forced you to move or relocate in the last 6 months, but he's trying to find something better for you. So no worries. I mean, your rising sign is his exaltation space. So, you treat him like a VIP guest. He treats you well back, Let's talk about Jupiter square Uranus in the big, every 6 or 7 year, great change of direction, revolutionary fervor, inspired expansion opportunity. So Jupiter is transiting in your chart of the money part of your chart all through 2021. Going to be great for your earnings, you Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants. Don't be shy. You're going to make a lot of money. Don't ask for the raise. You deserve it. You need it. You deserve it. Take it. You're going to have luck getting the money you need and want through your work, your livelihood, your expression of yourself in the world. And, if you're self-employed, then your earnings through your self-employment. So a lot of Capricorns are having a successful 2021 financially. At the same time, that Jupiter in your second house of your money and resources and possessions is giving you a new opportunity in your fifth house of financial speculative luck, money luck, pure and simple. Sometimes, an investment that does really well, a windfall, even a lottery ticket, for goodness sakes. So a lot of you Capricorn rising Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, also says repetitive Sun, Moon, and Ascendant Caps, could have a bolt of money luck in the last 2 weeks of January. This is January 17th, but yeah, it'll apply to the end of the month. And it will come, out of the blue because it's Uranus. You won't expect it. And courtesy of Mars, your exaltation lord and ruler of your ascendant, who's exalted in your ascendant. So, exaltation lord of your ascendant. Saturn's your ruler. So I love that this is happening for you guys right now, because I know a Capricorn rising with whom I bought a lottery ticket. I'm hoping this is true. So let's see what happens. Also romantic love and stuff like that. Also want to say just for you guys, I'm going to say this, all right? Mars in his exaltation can be entitled and, do the thing he's going to do from a haughty place. And so there's a possibility of a couple things going on here. Even though Jupiter's going to bless you, Jupiter's like a psychopomp. He helps people cross to the other side and avoid a painful death. So he's not always Mr. Nice Guy. I mean, I think death is fine, right? But I mean, it doesn't always look like what we expect. And so Jupiter in the house of romantic love, in a square with Mars, the god of cutting ties and severing them suddenly. I'm just going to say, when it would benefit you, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants, if this happens, a sudden end to a romantic love affair. A sudden severing or unexpected ending, but would bring you greater blessings anyway. Just possibly, not always. Also, if you're single already, then it could incite a sudden new love affair, okay, of great blessings and game-changing life directions. All right, children, if you are a Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant, and you don't want children, be very careful, because Uranus can give accidental pregnancies to you or your partner, and he's been there since 2019. And then, of course, you add the Jupiter, the god of fertility, Randy, god of Mount Olympus, who had so many illegitimate children, and he's squaring that part of the chart where babies are made. So again, accidental pregnancy news could come through in January for some of you, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. So please make sure that you have a cast iron birth control system in play, despite you can't feel a thing. All right, I'm moving on. I'm almost done. I don't know how I can talk this long. I really don't. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants. This journey of Mars has been through your third house. I'm an Aquarius rising. 6 months of Mars in my third house. Somebody totaled my parked car. Go figure, right? That's so Mars in the third house of transportation vehicles. Thank God it wasn't me and I wasn't in it. And Mars is also for us Aquarian, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants. He cut short trips into smithereens, probably. A lot of us, our short trips and travel were curtailed during COVID. That was true for me. But also I took a couple really powerful short trips and travel because he was there during the last 6 months of 2020. Also, he has been in the house of siblings. So yes, you may have had some disagreements with your siblings and some conflicts with them, as I did in 2020. So just know that was Mars kind of putting up hard boundaries and creating solid no statements when needed and drawing some fine lines in the sand. Mars is really good at paring away the unnecessary from our lives. He's trying to help. Okay. So Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant, folks, that's been the deal. Now, culminating on January 3rd, 4th, and 5th, the lessons of that third house transit. Oh, the third house is a very busy house of selling, marketing, merchandising, self-expression, and writing. Well, I've been writing, marketing, merchandising, and self-expressing up a storm in the last 6 months. So consider that as well. And in many ways, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of January, for a lot of us, Aquarius risings will let up the workload. I'm burnt out, honestly. I really said to my daughter, who's over there collaging or whatever, I'm burnt out. I burned out myself. I worked so hard in 2020. In the last 6 months, none more than that. And yes, of course, I made more money than I've ever made in any career in my life doing all that hard work. But Caden houses, third house, busy house. And I am ready to take a work break. And thank you, Mars, for moving out of there and into my fourth house of home. And all of us Aquarius is in January 6th and giving us a break from the intensity of those 6 months. So culminating lessons January 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I can't tell you what they will be. But remember the themes I addressed for where Mars was and all of that, and you'll get a sense of it. You know, the third house is friends as well. Okay. So, you know, you may also have had developments where you've lost some close friends. So like one of my friends died during that transit. So some of us Aquarius risings, a friend of 40 years, may have lost some close friends. And the third house friends are more of the real friends who will come over when you're in your pajamas looking like hell after you had a bad hangover or something. Whereas, you know, 11th house are more your social networks and belonging to the church, belonging to the group, belonging. Yeah. This is the friends that we, you know, are like siblings to us. So unfortunately for some Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant, especially the rising like me, I lost a couple of close friends in 2020's last 6 months as Mars went through there with its big shears and snipped away those friends. In my life, they had their own destiny to pass or not pass at a certain time in their own soul's direction, right? But it happened to show up as a transit of Mars through my third house. All right, so the big Jupiter juice is coming with the square to Uranus for us Aquarius rising. Well, first of all, we're blessed to have the big conjunction of Kings, Saturn and Jupiter in our first house. This is our time, Aquarius rising. We are the movement of the next 20 years, especially Aquarius rising, secondarily Sun and Moon. That's another story. Go listen to my all signs version of the Great Conjunction on my website. I'll put a link below. But I also want to say that Jupiter in our first house, all through 2021, is going to bring, first of all, weight gain. Be careful. People get fat when Jupiter goes through their first house. Fatter. Nothing wrong with being chubby. Fatter. Not weight shaming myself here, but I have put on weight even before Jupiter got there. And Jupiter will go through our first house and give us really good blessings in our sense of optimism, hope, and faith about who we are in the world and being ourselves, and bring luck to our very being and our expression. But the square that Jupiter makes to Uranus during the January 17th, once every 6 or 7 years event, is going to be about where we live, guys. It's real estate, it's home, it's land. If you have parents, it would involve one of your parents. And if you don't, the minor pass, it's just about the anchor of the chart, the root of the chart, and maybe even, luck that breaks through family patterns, that destroys family patterns. I'll give you an example. My dad, a lovely man, saved a shit ton of money, worked his ass off, and was a really beautiful dad because he worked for the family, but he didn't do a career he loved. And so wealth at a great expense. I don't want that to be my story. So what way would Jupiter squaring the house of my parents and family of origin maybe want to change that story in my life so that I am not doing a parental narrative around possessions, wealth, home, etc. We'll see. Now, it does mean very technically, though, that January 17th, add 2 weeks, could be a very lucky break that allows us to make a significant change in our fourth house, the house of where we live. So we could buy real estate, sell real estate, move to a new home, get a second home. It has to do with our place of our residence, change cities, change houses, change apartments. It doesn't mean we change it on January 17th. It means some bolt of new direction arises that can give us a chance or opportunity, open the doors to a big move. What else do I want to say? I mean, Uranus in the fourth house of all of us Aquarius rising, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant people here. It's a nomad transit. In essence, it means a lot of changes of home between 2019 and 26. It doesn't mean constant change, but there's certainly going to be more than one location in which most of us Aquarius risings choose to live over the next few years. I can testify to that. I moved across from Vancouver to Montreal when Uranus first ingressed into my fourth house. And I will likely move again this year, according to my own natal chart. What else can I say? There's something else I wanted to say. And Venus is a ruler of, the fourth house for us, people who are Aquarian rising, and Venus is sitting up here nodding her head from our 12th house of past lives. And I kind of think sometimes when Venus is in the 12th house, she does that once every year. She's there once every 9 or so months for 3 weeks. It's kind of like a time when Venus, goddess of wealth, money, luxury, and love, is operating from a karmic axis. So if we're going to have some kind of lucky breaks in our life regarding where we live, it may come through a past life, bonus points on the game board from Venus, the goddess of money. So any windfalls and breakthroughs could come through that, or through Venus's, love, through a love partner, a business partner, a love relationship maybe, or a friend relationship, because Venus rules friendship. So good news about moving through a love relationship, through a friend relationship. Okay. I know there was one more thing I was going to say about us, but my brain is like starting to turn off. No, I guess that's it for now. It would seem weird that every Aquarius rising is going to move, right? I mean, I hear you, but Jupiter will square our fourth house all through 2021, and that alone can incite a move. So a lucky opportunity to move, to sell or buy real estate, to gain some benefits from one of our parents, to gain benefits from a friend or ally, and a past life ka-ching, bonus points on the game board, carried forward to do with resourcefulness and money and finances from a prior life. End of that story. Last, and I always say, but not least, is our Pisces rising. Sun, moon, and ascendant Pisces. You guys are having the Mars transit, did through 2020 for 6 months, June 27th to January 6th, navigating a directional shift in your earnings, the way you create money and resourcefulness and possessions. You might have divested of a possession, sold a house, sold a property, sold an investment during June, or taken possession of money from selling an asset between June of 2027 and January 6th. You may also have been really looking hard at the way you wish to earn money in this life. The second house is our voice, our throat, how we speak. And therefore, voice and vocation have the same Latin root word, which I say a lot. And so what is your true voice and vocation? The Wounded Healer has been here since 2019 for Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. And the call is to find your true voice, your true vocation, and your true self-worth and self-possession. And so you can earn money in a successful and meaningful and purposeful way in your life. Mars was participating in that story. And as he gets to January 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and he's at the end of this part of the chart, you could have a breakthrough in your finances that shows you truly that all of the last 6 months was worth it. You could have some financial asset or possession that you put money into or sell that shows up as a very good choice. Let's see what happens in January 4th, 5th, and 6th is Mars's last lesson for you. And if you need to speak a truth and be bold and just declare it so, Mars, January 4th, 5th, and 6th. Don't chop someone's head off, but speak truthfully, forcefully, and honestly about what it is you might need to say in the house of the voice on January 4th, 5th, and 6th. Jupiter square Saturn, Uranus is going to be an activation that is once every 6 or 7 years. Is going to bless you with a sea change of inspired expansion, revolutionary fervor, and a new change of direction of fortunes. The change is coming in your third house of your local community, your siblings, your neighborhood, your friendships, your marketing, selling, writing, marketing, and merchandising. Now, and teaching and learning. A lot of things go on in that busy cadent third house. Oracleship and divination as well, like card reading and tarot cards and just telling the future. That's very third house. So some of you Pisces people, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants may find that there's a lot of juice that gets activated from Jupiter in the past life house, the karma house, the earnings of your dividends from other lives. And Jupiter is going to be there through all of 2021. This is a good time to pay attention to your dreams at night, seek a guide, a coach, a counselor, a spiritual guide, to really understand that Jupiter is going to bring you subtle blessings from the realms beyond this one, but also he can go into your past lives, which are concurrent in my view, multiple dimensional. I'm a fan of the multiverse, many worlds theory of quantum physics. So maybe you'll access a many worlds version of yourself that has, something you need, and it's going to operate to benefit your third house. Now, ironically, it could be a move as well. The third house, I've noticed with people's charts in real life, is that they often move because they're activated in the third, and they settle in when they get to the fourth. You may relocate as a result of this. And it doesn't mean that you're going to relocate on January 17th. When this event happens, circumstances will conspire around January 17th to give you a possible new relocation. You could relocate closer to a sibling, house of siblings. You could relocate to a new neighborhood, right? I don't know where you're going to relocate, but there is the possibility. Jupiter is in the house of foreign lands, operating in a house of travel and moving. So you may move from one land to another land, right? Foreign lands are activated too. So I do think a lot of you Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants will relocate as a result of the January 17th breakthrough in your fortunes. If you want to write anything, this is the house of writing and self-expression, do it. This is the time to get an inspiration from your dreams at night, from your unconscious, from your many lives that might bolt through as a breakthrough insight, an original idea, a high concept story that you may want to write. One of your siblings may have some breakthrough that affects you positively. Okay. So like if I won the lottery, then my sibling could benefit from it, right? I have a sibling who's a Pisces rising. So you could benefit through a sibling when it comes to the question mark of where you live, moves, local community, etc. All right. So anything else I'd say about the third house? Third has so many meanings. Well, it is a short trip and travel. If you take any short trips or travel around January 17th, despite the lockdowns, well, then it could be very breakthrough beneficial for you, for some of you Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Ascendants. Hallelujah, I am done. I hope that that is exciting and useful for your January 2021 sneak peek of what's going on for each of you and your signs. If you want to know about the whole year 2021, please check the box below where you can get a link to buy the All Signs 2021 bundle for $39 or a la carte $14.95. Just grab your sun sign, moon sign, or rising sign. 1 hour videos pre-recorded in November 2020 for you guys to ingest and digest in 2021. And they're chock full of details about what's ahead for each of the signs. Okay, have a great day, everyone. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. I read all of your comments. I heart them. And if I have something back to say, I always say it. My channel's growing slowly. I appreciate all of you, my little Astro family here. And I'll see you on the other side of this recording, which will be, I don't know what I'm doing next, something in my on my channel. Thanks, guys. Oh, I could have said the whole spiel as me. Bye.